Published 1532 EDT, the 1st of November 2017. Updated 1728 EDT, the 1st of November 2017. Sir Michael Fallon tonight sensationally resigned as Defence Secretary, admitting his past behaviour had fallen short amid a growing Westminster storm. Sir Michael admitted this week to inappropriately touching Julia Hartley-Brewer's knee at a conference dinner in 2002. She has insisted she was not a victim and no formal investigation was launched into that incident. Defence sources tonight said Sir Michael had told the Prime Minister he could not guarantee there would be more incidents like Julia Hartley-Brewer. No new allegations are expected to surface tonight, sources said, but in a BBC interview Sir Michael hinted at more recent incidents. Sir Michael said it was right for him to resign and said the culture has changed over the years. What might have been acceptable 10 years ago is clearly not acceptable now. Sir Michael Fallon tonight sensationally resigned as Defence Secretary amid a growing Westminster harassment scandal. The journalist involved, Julia Hartley-Brewer, insisted she was not a victim and no investigation was launched into that incident, which occurred 15 years ago. Sir Michael, pictured right with Navy CPT Davis Eagles, has been Defence Secretary since 2014. Parliament now has to look at itself and the Prime Minister has made very clear that conduct needs to be improved and we need to protect the staff of Westminster against any particular allegations of harassment. Ms. Hartley-Brewer called into talk radio tonight to insist this has all got out of hand and told Sky News resigning over the incident in 2002 would be the most insane, absurd cabinet resignation ever. Sir Michael was one of the redacted names on a controversial sleaze dossier that has circulated in Westminster this week. However, his resignation is not believed to be related to those allegations. Yesterday, sources close to him strenuously denied the claims in the document, which were described as libelous and untrue. Sir Michael declined to comment on the allegations. Sir Michael, previously seen as a safe pair of hands and one of Mrs. May's closest allies, brought to an end a high-profile ministerial career with his dramatic resignation. Defence sources tonight said Sir Michael had told the Prime Minister, pictured together in the Commons, he could not guarantee there would be more incidents like Julia Hartley-Brewer. In his resignation letter to Theresa May tonight, Sir Michael said, "I accept that in the past I have fallen below the high standards that we require of the armed forces." Sir Michael set out no new allegations but told Mrs. May, "I have reflected on my position and I am therefore resigning as Defence Secretary." In response, Mrs. May thanked him for the characteristically serious manner with which he had considered his position and praised his leadership of the Ministry of Defence since 2014. "It has been a privilege to have served as Defence Secretary for the last 3.5 years, and I have nothing but admiration for the professionalism, bravery and service of those men and women who keep us safe." In her reply, Mrs. May told him, as Secretary of State for Defence since July 2014, "You have championed our brave armed forces and made sure that the government has been able to fulfil its most fundamental responsibility, the defence of the realm." Michael Fallon has made a career out of politics, first becoming a member for Parliament for Darlington as a 29-year-old. The father of two has risen through the ranks during his time at Westminster, going on to hold 4 different portfolios in the cabinet under Theresa May and David Cameron. Born in Perth, Scotland, he was privately educated at Craigflower Preparatory School, near Dunfermline, and later Epsom College in Surrey. While attending the University of St Andrews in Scotland, he campaigned for the Keep Britain in Europe movement in the 1975 referendum. His first stint as a Conservative MP came between 1983 and 1992 for Darlington, after which he stood in Sevenoaks in 1997, a seat he still holds. His early promise was noticed by Margaret Thatcher, who made him Parliamentary Under Secretary of State for the Department for Education and Science in July 1990. His first cabinet role came in 2012, when he was appointed Minister of State for Business and Enterprise by David Cameron. 2 years later, he was made Minister of State for Energy, before he was appointed the inaugural Minister of State for Portsmouth. The role was created in response to the loss of jobs from BAE Systems, with Fallon tasked with bringing economic growth to the city. He has been married to his wife Wendy Payne for 21 years and lives in Sunbridge, Kent. You should take particular pride in the way the United Kingdom has risen to the challenge of tackling the barbaric threat of Daesh. Thanks to the bravery of our armed forces, Daesh is being defeated, and 3 million people have been freed from its murderous rule. Ms. Hartley-Brewer told Sky News, "I'm incredibly shocked. If this is over Kneegate and him touching my knee 15 years ago, me not having any issue with it today, then this is the most insane, absurd and ridiculous resignation of a cabinet minister ever in the history of the world. However, I don't think that is the reason." As he said in his statement, he talked about his previous conduct. He said he had fallen below the high standards that we require of the armed services. "I doubt very much if one of the standard we expect of the armed forces is that no man in the military has ever touched a knee of a younger woman. I am assuming there are more allegations to come, various rumours swirling around Westminster, but I doubt very much it is a result of my knee, and if it is, then it is really mad and absurd and crazy." Labour MP John Mann told Mail Online it's highly predictable that he resigned. "It makes your position if you are Defence Secretary totally unsustainable. You can't be Defence Secretary if you are at the centre of a major rumour mill, because whether it's true or not, the armed services are going to presume the worst." Asked if Theresa May have got rid of him earlier, Mr. Mann said of course she could have. "Why is Ghani still there? But this is all part of Parliament. It's going to get explosive because people are coming forward in their droves at the moment." The shock resignation comes amid a growing UAL harassment scandal that is engulfing Westminster. Theresa May's deputy Damian Green was placed under investigation today after he was accused by a journalist of making an inappropriate pass. Prime Minister Theresa May pictured emerging from number 10 faces having to carry out at least a minor reshuffle of her top team as the Westminster harassment scandal exploded tonight. Defence Secretary Sir Michael Fallon left today has been revealed as the MP who made the gesture to Miss Hartley-Brewer. He is pictured right with wife Wendy Payne in December 2016. Miss Hartley-Brewer says the incident involving Sir Michael is mildly amusing and not a UAL assault. Trade Minister Mark Garnier is also being probed over allegations he took his secretary to buy toys. Journalist Ms. Hartley-Brewer threatened to punch Sir Michael over the original incident where he repeatedly putting his hand on her knee. When the incident was exposed, she joked her joints are both still intact. The Defence Secretary attended a cabinet meeting on Tuesday as Theresa May said he was right to apologise but confirmed he will not be investigated by the Cabinet Office over the 2002 incident. LBC presenter Hartley-Brewer last night warned the Westminster harassment row had become a witch hunt. Yesterday she tweeted a picture of her legs and said, "Full medical checkup this morning and, yes, both of my knees are still intact. Get a grip, people. Although not on my knee, obviously." Dear Prime Minister, a number of allegations have surfaced about MPs in recent days, including some about my previous conduct. Many of these have been false, but I accept that in the past I have fallen below the high standards that we require of the armed forces, that I have the honor to represent. I have reflected on my position and I am therefore resigning as Defence Secretary. It has been a privilege to have led defence over the past 3.5 years. We are close to defeating Daesh terrorism in Iraq and Syria. We have taken a leadership role in NATO, and we have secured a defence budget that will grow ahead of inflation each year. I have the utmost admiration for the professionalism, bravery, and service of the men and women who keep us safe. I have been fortunate in the opportunity to serve in the governments of 4 prime ministers, and to have played a part in education reform, including setting up Ofsted, the reduction of red tape for business and the attraction of new investment into energy generation. I shall continue to support the government and to work hard for my Sevenoaks constituents. Yours ever, Michael. Dear Michael, thank you for your letter of this evening. I appreciate the characteristically serious manner in which you have considered your position, and the particular example you wish to set to servicemen and women and others. As Secretary of State for Defense since July 2014, you have championed our brave armed forces and made sure that the government has been able to fulfill its most fundamental responsibility, the defense of the realm. You should take particular pride in the way the United Kingdom has risen to the challenge of tackling the barbaric threat of Daesh. Thanks to the bravery of our armed forces, Daesh is being defeated, and 3 million people have been freed from its murderous rule. This follows along an impressive ministerial career serving in 4 departments of state under 4 prime ministers, as well as your distinguished contribution on the Conservative front bench in opposition, your membership of the Treasury Select Committee, and your role as Deputy Chairman of the Conservative Party. You have combined these roles with diligent service to the public in 2 constituencies, first in Darlington, and then in Sevenoaks, and I know you will continue to represent your constituents in that manner. On behalf of all those you have helped throughout your time in government, I thank you for your service. Yours sincerely, Teresa.